The Lions signed a couple of players. We're going to go through those players and talk about what it means for the Lions as they get to the 90-man roster and prepare for training camp. Jared Goff extension is expected to happen at some point here. It's going to be a pretty big deal. We're going to be talking about that. One of the impacts of the offseason is actually a trade that the Detroit Lions make. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and why having players coaches works out. Let's go. If you're a fan of the Lions, you want to hear from a fan perspective, well, that would be me and other folks that are on this channel, like Mr. Ant-Man. If you want to hear it from a former player's perspective, you can do so with a guy like Herman Moore. So subscribe to this channel. That's what this is all about here, Detroit Lions in and off season. We're going to go over a couple articles here. Pride of Detroit is bringing up this one here about the Detroit Lions and why it works to have coaches as players. Now, I think this is really, really simple. I haven't read the article, but I'm going to give you my answer here. Players can relate to coaches that did what they are doing. They're in a lot of pain. They're dealing with a lot of issues when they're in training camp at the run NFL season. It's hard to relate if you've never done that. But guess what? Lions coaching staff has done that because they're all former players. So then you get rookies and veterans that come into Detroit and they're going to listen to what their coaches say because their coach has already done it. It's really that simple. It really, really is. People generally respect other people that did the same job that they are doing, and you can relate a little bit more to that. Now, if you're just having a coach tell you what to do that has never done anything of the sort, it's quite difficult to get that respect. Even though it can happen, 100% sure, there's coaches that absolutely get the respect. But to me, it's a little bit easier when you're having a former player as a coach. And that's the real reason behind it. And obviously, Dan Campbell, it's not just it's not former players just all come together. They actually are good at coaching too. So you got to have both of both worlds, and they're really good at it. So it works for the Detroit Lions. Do you think it works? Well, I'm sure you do. Let us know in the comments below. Let's go ahead and jump into this next article right here. It's talking about the Detroit Lions trade ranked among the most impactful of the 2024 NFL season now, or offseason. Now you're going to assume it'd probably be a trade in the draft. No, it's about Carlton Davis. It's actually the most impactful trade, and I agree with him. I think he's the one with experience, and we don't have a whole lot of experience right now. A lot of younger players on this secondary here, and Carlton Davis is a veteran, and he's good, right? So, and I think he's going to make an immediate impact. Do I think he's going to be the long-term solution? No, I think that is going to be Terrion Arnold. But look, if he comes out here and he plays great, I would absolutely love for Carlton Davis to stick around for a long-term solution at the cornerback position. You're talking about then Ennis Rakestraw, Carlton Davis, and Terrion Arnold, one in the slot, two the outsides. I would like to see that. And I do think it's impactful for this football team. I think there's other players too. Brian Burns, I think, is extremely impactful. When they traded him from Carolina, especially for a second-round pick, and I think he's going to make it a severe impact. So that's another one I think was a big deal. But Terrion Arnold, for sure, it's only a third-round pick. It's not like it's a high trade, but it is an impactful one. No doubt about it. Lions have signed two players, and these players are actually interesting that I want to talk about. One of the more interesting ones to me here is going the tight end Parker Hesse. He signed with the Detroit Lions. Why do I think that's interesting? Because you got to think about James Mitchell. Now, Brock Wright is not going anywhere. Obviously, Laporta is not going anywhere, but what if he comes out here and makes an impact? He actually played a lot of snaps, and he played for Kyle Pitts when Kyle Pitts was injured. So he has a lot of reps, so that's going to be something that's intriguing to watch. Could he actually jump a James Mitchell, whom the Lions drafted? Probably not, but it's one of those deals that it's potential that could be out there, so you can watch that. They want to get better at that tight end position. They want to have everything squared away there for sure. And they got Caden Davis here as a wide receiver. They picked up, now I don't really want to talk a lot about what he's going to bring. I don't think he's going to make the team because that position is so, right now, fiery with competition. And you're talking about Isaiah Williams, Antoine Green. They're trying to get that last final spot. So it's not like there's much competition here, but the Lions got him on this team. And hopefully he can try to make an impact, at least for training camp. So do you think that it's going to be an impact? Do you think that any one of these guys is going to make the football team? Let us know in the comments below. We're going to continue on here. Holmes, all for a live lion on the sideline. Why do I want to talk about this? Because it's funny. Could you imagine having a live lion on the sideline being in a cage with a giant angry roaring lion on the sideline? That would be epic. Will it happen? Probably not. And that's what Holmes is saying here. He was all for it when Dan Campbell wanted to have a live lion on the sideline. But man, oh man, there's definitely, you could see a situation where you're getting animal rights people very upset because you're having a lion on the sideline with 60-some thousand people in there screaming. So you could see a situation like that, and I just don't see it happening. But it would be kind of cool. It would be kind of cool. Lions news. Jared Goff expect to receive a astonishing contract extension from the Detroit Lions, and it's a $50+ million is what they're expecting here for Jared Goff to get in this gigantic deal, and this has been a topic of conversation in Detroit since we traded for Jared Goff. Initially it was, this guy is just going to be a bridge quarterback. Well, that's assumed. A lot of people assume that. I didn't assume that. I thought if he'd be good, great. If he's not great, you got draft picks to get another quarterback. But he ended up being really good for the Detroit Lions. Right now, he's the 17th highest paid quarterback in the NFL. And clearly, that's not right? Like, he is much better than the 17th ranked quarterback in the National Football League. So he's going to get a $50+ million extension. And that's going to be big. And I know a lot of people are going to be happy about it, and a lot of people are going to be upset about it. I get both sides, but if you look at the facts here, the fact of the matter is the coaches love Jared Goff. The players love Jared Goff. Jared Goff is getting the job done. He has won playoff games. He has great yardage. I mean, he's top 5 in every stat. It's a lot. It's a lot. He's going to get paid, folks. It's just the nature of the business. It's a good problem to have. It is. We have a quarterback that played really well, and our problem is, how much are we going to pay him? That's great news. He wasn't a bust. It wasn't a bad trade at all. It was a great trade. So let's be happy about that first off. Goff lovers, I'd say this to you. You're going to get what you want for sure, and I think he deserves to get a contract extension. But he's got to maintain it. When he does get this pay, he's got to continue to perform at a high level. You can't drop off and go down. So he's got to perform at a high level. I think he will, especially with the offensive line and the weapons at Brad Holmes. He'll be fine. And interesting about Jared Goff, I know a lot of quarterbacks fall off maybe later in their career. One thing about Jared Goff, though, it's different than most quarterbacks. He's a quarterback that makes his plays with his eyes and his brain. It's not doing it with his legs, right? He doesn't have the strongest arm in the world, but he's very intelligent. When you have a player like that, they can last a little bit longer, in my opinion, in the NFL. Why is that? Because they don't have an athletic ability that's starting to fall off a cliff that made them really good when they were younger, right? Some of these players, like a Cam Newton or whatever, they lose that ability to scramble or extend the play, and it hurts their career. That was the reason why they're drafted up there, and their body's beat up, and they can no longer do that type of work. But when you got a guy like Jared Goff, who he makes his money standing in the pocket and distributing the football, I feel like his career could last a little bit longer. And he's also a really tough SOB, right? So he can take the punishment. He's a strong guy, as much as people don't want to give him credit for. He's a tough cookie. Do you think he should get extended to 50+ million? Let me know in the comment section. But the guy is tough. You know, we give Matthew Stafford a lot of credit for being a tough guy, and he is tough. So is Jared Goff. So I think he deserves to get that credit right there. And he's a good player. I'm fine with the Lions extending him. Do I want it a little bit lower for cap? Yeah. I think we all do, right? So, but the cap's always going up, and Brad Holmes is not an idiot. He's not going to destroy this franchise or anything like that. So they're gonna get Jared Goff signed, and the Lions' offense can continue to be really good. And since the cap's always going up, you're going to be able to play players like Aiden Hutchinson when his time is ready. Brian Branch, Sam Laporta, when their times are ready to get paid. Because even by the time some of these guys are ready to get their second contract, it's going to be the end of Jared Goff's contract, so they can make it work. And then they have to worry about the quarterback. After that, who would you bring in? Is this going to have to be draft a guy, right? Or is it going to be a new guy? What about Hendon Hooker? Well, he's going to be a backup right now, and that's just the bottom line. That's what he is. He's not going to be a starter anytime soon. If Jared Goff goes down, he can come in and lock it down. But right now, they trust Jared Goff. They like what he's bringing to the table, and I'm not going to be upset about it. I'm not going to throw a temper tantrum, good or bad. I think it's smart to get Jared Goff under contract because he's done exactly what we wanted him to do. He won the NFC North, he won playoff games, and he's good. He's not the greatest, but he's good. He's a really good quarterback. So I'm excited for it, and I can't wait to see what he brings to the Detroit Lions. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. With that said, folks,